we have any non-public?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I make a motion to go.
So wait a minute, wait, before we go into non-public, you sent out an email about asking for comments or questions because you're going to Coventry. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Going up to meet with the select board and the administrator.
And so,
and people around the dump.
with the Coventry landfill.
Yeah.
So what prompted that, if I can ask?
Just curiosity.
Okay. And
I
so,
want to know more about it.
well, that's a good thing, but why are you doing it independently instead of as a board?
Because I was curious.
I know, but this is a board issue, you know, if it's a town issue, you'd be
Well,
with your
you wanna-
select board, then.
You want to go up?
Well, it would have been nice to coordinate. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
I would have to change my stuff around.
Is it Thursday or Wednesday?
Thursday.
Your email says Wednesday.
No, it says Thursday. The 5th.
Nope, your email says September 5th. Sorry. I must have been looking at the August calendar. My apologies.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we do things as a board, not as individuals.
I was just curious. That's the only
Well, I
reason
know,
I'm going.
but it would have been nice to come to the board and have us, you know, agree and to coordinate with us instead of just going off as an individual.
I looked at it, he's just gonna ask questions. On myself, I'm not going, you know, I mean, you know, asking questions. And that's why I saw his email. If you get any questions, if you get any pertinent questions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, throw them at him and he's gonna ask them.
And I'll
He's gonna bring
definitely
that-
have questions.
He's gonna bring that stuff back to the board.
And
And that's with him, and if he was by himself, he's only doing research. He's not, it's not a meeting problem, you know. Like anybody else, when you do something, you do it by yourself, you're doing research to bring back. But, you know, as a, you know, you're again going up, go up. I don't have no problem with it.
yeah, I might. I mean, we'd have to post it as a meeting, you know, that we're going, you know, we won't do any town business, but we're going to get, what time are you leaving?
In the morning.
What time?
I'm not sure. We're going to be there at 10.
Where is that?
Coventry.
Yeah.
You know, it's up by, it's on Lake Memphremagog, northern Vermont.
About what, an hour and a half trip.
I don't know.
Airport Road, Newport.
Just below Newport, yeah.
Do you folks know how long it would be in non-public before you do public questions?
Well, we should do
We can do public questions now.
public comments before.
Can we do that first, and then we don't sit around?
Yeah.
Is that what's up next?
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. I want to first of all thank the select board for inviting Casella to visit with us a month ago and to share some of their ideas as to what their plans are. For 4 or 5 years, we've not had that cooperation from the select board. And it's clear that the select board here tonight was open to Casella and open to have the dialogue with them. You need me to move there so I can get in the film?
No.
You don't need me? Great. Some of the things that I sat through, we couldn't ask questions, but some of the points that were being made really didn't have anything to do with the tipping fee piece. It was more landfill piece. And I wasn't quite sure why those questions were being asked when it was really about the agreement that we may come to. But to touch on some of that, because we couldn't respond, there seems to be a person who's very concerned about the truck traffic. And I don't believe there's going to be any truck traffic through Dalton until they get onto the driveway and into the site. But I think about the truck traffic and say, well, there's logging trucks that haul on Route 3, 142, 135. There are tractor trailers, trucks going to the grocery stores. I mean, I can go on and on. And there has been for 100 years. And I'm wondering why somebody might think, or a group might think, well, we can take truck traffic, but we can't take that kind of truck traffic, which we already do. I guess my question is, where do we truck? How do they truck the trash from the recycling center up to Success? Do they go into Lancaster up to, or do they go? Does anybody know?
Say that again.
When they haul the trash from the recycling center up to Success to dump?
Oh, I don't know. They go to Gorham, right?
Carberry to Berlin.
Berlin.
Yeah.
So I would imagine they go right out 116.
Through Jefferson,
Yeah.
Right through Whitefield.
right through Whitefield.
Well, 116, that's where you connect on
Right.
the
I guess my question is, there's lots of concerns about this truck traffic driving in front of schools. Well, we're taking the trash from our recycling center to Success in front of schools. So the hypocrisy of saying, well, we can't have this truck traffic going in front of schools, but when we have to haul our trash, it can go in front of schools.
I think
And that I find to be, I kind of shook my head saying, well, I've heard this before. Secondly, there was some debate, well, they're overpricing the benefit of trash pickup at homes. Casella put it at $150,000, and one of the members said, oh no, it's only gonna be $15,000. I don't think people understand, if we have the trash pickup at our house, we're no longer buying bags. That's a savings for everyone in the town, not just for a select few. And again, we start looking at the hypocrisy of these arguments. And as the Casella person said outside that evening, he says, go try to ask Wayno what they will charge if they had home pickup in every place in Dalton. It's going to be over $150,000. Over. And he said, we're trying to be good neighbors. We're trying to benefit the town. And I think for too long, we've had a very small group of people trying to tell the town of Dalton as a whole what's best for them. And now we are in a position where I think the select board is looking at the best interest of everyone and not just a few. Finally, about 4 years ago, we transferred our trash from going to Bethlehem to Success. It was about 4 years ago. And when I asked for these statistics on it, Jeanette was very good about giving them to me. And I kind of went through them. And there was a meeting about 3 years ago when I came in here and said, this is costing us more to send the trash to Success than it was to Bethlehem. And I had the numbers to prove it. I'm going to ask, I'm not sure what the process is. What would be the process if we said, you know what, we're going to go back to Bethlehem. We're not going to truck our trash 40 miles away. We're only going to truck it 10 at a savings. What's the process?
Not sure.
So could I just mention a couple of things? And when Casella was here, so they talked about if they took our trash now, it would be a $65,000 value. Right now, we are only paying less than $15,000 a year for tipping fees. So that's where the discrepancy. It's really not fair to say that it's, it may cost them that, but that's not what the town would save because we would still have transportation costs. My understanding of the people who are talking about traffic, it's the volume of the traffic. With us, we have one truck going. How many times a month do they go?
They go twice a month.
I was gonna
Twice
say
a month.
two
times.
trucks a week would be,
2 times a month.
2 times a month.
They go with our regular trash, and then if we have demo, we as needed.
Right. So that's different than 100 trucks a day going like through Whitefield and past the elementary school.
So-
or
If Casella is successful in placing their landfill there at Ingerson's, what part of Dalton will these 100 trucks be going through per day?
I think there's concern about people surrounding.
I'm not talking about the surrounding, we're talking about Dalton. How much road will those trucks travel in Dalton if the landfill is in Ingerson's industrial park?
So the other thing is.
Zero. I mean, Joe Beth, just answer it. It's zero.
Actually,
There's no
could be-
miles.
Actually, it could be a lot, because if DOT stops them going through Littleton, they're gonna have to come through Dalton to come around.
No, they won't. They'll go through Whitefield. They
That's
won't
right,
touch.
but
They
still,
won't touch an inch of Dalton's road.
how are they
and-
gonna get from Whitefield from 93?
How do they get right through?
Okay,
Probably
point,
Route 3.
point of order. This is
Hey,
a select
so stop
board.
for okay. hold
No,
on.
this is a select board meeting, and you should be addressing the select board, and you should be addressing the select board, not
I
each other.
am addressing the select
No,
board.
you were just having a
And
private
I think this is
conversation.
the first time I've ever heard a select board question someone who has a public comment. I did ask a question, how do we change the, sending our trash back to Bethlehem then to success? I did ask that question. But Joe Beth wanted to go off on what she was talking about a month ago. And rarely do I see a select board ever come back at someone just doing public response. Rarely. I'm not saying it could never happen. But hold on, but I'm not done yet.
Hey,
But,
that's enough. That's a lot.
Hey, we're gonna go back to this $65,000, $15,000, piece. Joe Beth, we might be spending $15,000 a year to truck our traffic to success. That may be true. I'm going to take your word for it that that's true. But I'm paying, I don't know, probably $50 to $60 a year, my family, for the bags. As is yours, as is yours, as is yours, as is yours. We can go right around the table. We're all paying that. And if all of a sudden Casella's going to say, well, you know what? You don't have to buy the bags anymore. We'll take the trash. And we'll, as a community service, we'll dispose of it and we'll recycle it. So yes, there's a savings to everyone in the community when that happens. Not just a select few. And we have to, call a spade a spade. Let's be honest. Okay? This has been going on for 5 years. And we now have a board that's willing to sit and listen and work with them instead of against them. And I appreciate that. And I know there's others in this town that appreciate that. And that's all I have to say.
Can I make a correction? I feel the need to make a correction, please. I wasn't here 4 years ago, so I don't know who he got that accounting from, but I haven't been here for 4 years, just so you know. Thank you.
And you came in and you picked 2 specific weeks to do your comparison.
That's
back
not true.
Quite a few years ago.
That's not true.
I could pull it out from previous meetings, because the next meeting you weren't here, but I had done an analysis a year long, and it was a savings at that time to go to Mount Carberry, including transportation costs. But, and Carol can weigh in here, when the board made the change, it was really to be prospective, because we knew that Bethlehem was reaching capacity and would be closing, and to make sure that we had a foothold and some place to send our trash. That was really the impetus for it, and the cost saving was a secondary benefit.
So I'm going to respond. I went back 3 years. It wasn't 2 weeks. I went back 3 years to what the costs were with Bethlehem. Then we started with success, and I looked at, okay, there was about 8 months that we were going to success. I said, that's all I could do is 8 months. And I looked at that. Oh, believe me, I made comparisons years in front of this.
We had generated more trash during COVID because kids didn't go to school, people were home. Whether you deny it or not, we've generated more trash during that time. And second, I've heard of towns that have to purchase bags because other town people were bringing their trash into the free people's town to get picked up. So they made a rule you have to buy trash bags, and the town that I know, they have to buy orange ones. Specifically because other towns are going, oh, we'll just take our trash to my brother's house. He pays nothing. So.
Well, that's tough to look into, there's no question there.
Yeah. But during COVID, we did have more trash generated. I don't care what anybody says. The schools were low, but they didn't have any students.
Mike?
I'm neutral on whether Casella comes to town or not. But one factor that nobody has mentioned is that if Casella picks up everybody's trash, you're now saving time every Saturday or Tuesday taking your trash to the transfer station, plus gas, and all the other parts of that. And they're paying their guys with their trucks to pick up all the trash right at your doorstep. All you gotta do is put it out at the driveway. So look how much time you could save. I know that every Saturday, and I live close, it's a half-hour ordeal to go to transfer and get rid of the stuff.
That's why we need to have another discussion with them to find out more about the do's and the don'ts. Because like again, you got the cans, you got the metal, you know, so the transfer station would have to stay operating, I would think. But that's my opinion right now. But anyways,
Right.
we need to be able to talk with them, and go ahead.
Kathy?
Yeah, with what everybody has said, the other piece I need to point out is when they do start going around to everybody's home, you're gonna have more trucks and traffic on all of the current roads, dirt and whatever have tar. So there's gonna be some impact on the town roads. So I think that's something we all need to be aware of, especially after this disaster, where some of these roads still need a lot of work done.
Well, I'm sure those roads will be fixed by then, and truck-wise, there'll be only one truck making the loop. But anyways, is there any more discussion on that?
On that, just the one discussion, not one thing, the bears. Just bears.
Yeah.
Just leave it there.
Just bears?
That came to my mind too. There's always bears. They did mention at that meeting, we didn't have it on there, but I'd like to move to have, because I said they would come in, do hamburgers or hot dogs, and for any of the residents that can come and ask questions, you know, and give their input to all this, and I think it's only fair to follow up with that. So I'd like to move, and at least if Jeanette can send them an email to find out if they're still willing to do that, but it'll be just for the residents only.
Why would it be just residents? Because
Because it's
the
a
whole
town of
community is
Dalton.
impacted
We're
by
not dealing with Whitefield or Little, we're dealing with Dalton. And it should, because it can be out of hand with every Tom, Dick, and Harry here. Unless they say otherwise.
I disagree with that. I think that if you're going to have questions, it can't be, oh, everybody went because it was a cookout. I think a lot more people would come if it was a session where you sat and you asked questions and leave out the bribery. Because I can tell you people aren't going to go for that reason.
Yeah, just to give you a heads up, a new law got signed in by the governor, HB 1221. So in that, it now indicates that something like a new landfill is a regional impact. So you're going to need to double check if you're going to need to reach out to those that are surrounding based on that new law.
Would you call that HB?
HB 1221. That was signed in July and becomes law this month.
I'm pretty sure if you really want honesty and people coming and asking questions, it can't be a cookout. It has to be set up as a meeting in the auditorium.
Any more questions?
good on that? Okay. Also, 4 weeks ago, I came in and asked about what we were paying for trash removal from the transfer station to Mount Carberry. And I'm just going to read the piece and I can kind of tell you how I came to these numbers. At the November 2nd, 2020 Select Board meeting, I made a request to see how much the town has spent on trash removal from January 2020 to October 2020, or as far as you could have tickets for. On November 16th, 2 weeks later, I received the information I was asked for. I appreciate the quick turnaround and the numbers that were given to me, even included all of the year 2019 as well. And so I do appreciate the fact that you folks were able to supply me with some information. I spent some time mulling over the numbers, and I ended up comparing the two sites that were used in two different ways. Now, I will give this to you too, so you'll have it in writing, Liz. The first way I compared it was, I compared the cost of what we paid NCES from June the 12th, 2019 to September the 18th, 2019. 15 weeks, give or take. And I found that that total cost was $8,088.57. I compared that to what we paid at Mount Carberry from June 4th, 2020 to September 16th, 2020, approximately 15 weeks, and found that total cost to be $10,087.38. Secondly, I compared the cost.
What are the dates?
As the tonnage is the same?
You ain't got that far yet.
Let me finish. I do have all these answers. So the dates I used was June the 12th, 2019 to September 18th, 2019. The reason I used those dates was because I had to find comparable dates in 2019 to the comparable dates of this fall, summer, fall.
So you had almost 2 years worth of data and you picked 15 weeks?
Well, if you let me finish and not interrupt, I'll kind of get around to eventually all my findings here. So secondly,
3 minutes or what?
Not your choice.
He's already over 3
It's not
minutes.
your choice.
Says on the agenda.
He's
3
gonna
minutes.
Just a minute,
hold
not
on,
you.
hold on. I cannot hear with multiple people talking. Please continue.
Who's the chairman?
okay, let me finish. I then compared the cost of what we paid at NCES from February 5th, 2020 to May the 27th, 2020, about 16 weeks. And I found that the total cost was $9,079.16. I compared that to what we paid at Mount Carberry from 6/04/20 to 9/16/20, about 15 weeks, and found that total cost to be $10,087.38. Again, same cost, same amount of time.
Same
So-
tonnage?
Under the first scenario, the town of Dalton would save over the course of the year approximately $8,000 if we'd stayed with the NCES contract.
That's bullshit.
Under the second scenario, the town of Dalton would save over the course of the year approximately $4,000 if we'd stayed with the NCES contract. A little side note. Since June the 2nd of 2020 to date, to today, Dalton residents have delivered 77.23 tons of materials to NCES. The town did not have to pay for that. The town residents brought the disposal to NCES and paid the disposal fee, the tonnage fee, whatever it was. This, if brought to the transfer station, would have increased the bill to Mount Carberry by $4,324.88. In a few years, this all may become a moot point, as Casella would pay for trash removal as part of the agreement to site their operation at the Ingerson Industrial Park.
Yay.
Now, what I tried to do was compare apples to apples. That's the best I can do. These numbers came from you folks. These aren't numbers that I made up. These are actual numbers that I received from the Board of Selectmen to use in my comparisons. Now, there's all of a sudden there's a lot of interest in what we're paying for trash removal.
Yeah,
A month ago, I asked for the information. About a week later, there was an article in the Caledonian that was just a timing piece, where the little town of Littleton decided to stay with NCS because the cost to switch to Carberry was going to be far greater than they wanted to charge their citizens of the town. And since there's been a letter drafted by Mr. Alvarez in the corner saying how much money the town of Dalton is saving, I think he knew what I was going to find with these numbers. And right now, as we're talking about budget and not having the money, for us to be paying more for our trash to be shipped to Mount Carberry than can be shipped to NCES is a travesty.
So, I would have to begin and look at your numbers.
Absolutely,
So
I understand that, Joe Beck. I'm not asking for an answer tonight. Really what I'm doing is trying to give information to the board as to what I found. The numbers were your numbers. I'm not making them up. The only thing that you didn't know, and I didn't know this, was that there are Dalton residents who are delivering their disposable trash, or probably demo, to the NCES site on their own, charging that fee, whatever that fee is they're being charged. I didn't know that.
They're the Kennisons. They were
I
emptying
don't know
out a
how you would
trailer.
know that. if they
Well, I
didn't-
know because he works for me. It's the Kennisons. They were emptying out a demolished trailer, and the only reason that they were doing it is because they needed the bins because they were filling them up.
Okay. So the bottom line is,
And they would have paid to bring it to the transfer station. We charge for construction debris, and it's supposed to be a break even. So
well, right now, we're spending more money to ship up to Mount Carberry.
it does cost more money to ship up the car.
And it's costing us more as a town.
It's
with
not, because
everything
you've taken the
included.
numbers out of context, the numbers do not lie. If you look over from last year when we decided, the whole year to date, you compared it with the trucking, and the tonnage is $20 a ton cheaper for the municipal waste. It's $40 less for construction debris. To go from Bethlehem, from the transfer station to Bethlehem is $188. To go from the transfer station to Carberry, it's $295. So basically, or it's $285. So basically, if your construction debris is over 2.5 tons, then you break even. Most of the loads of construction debris are 5 to 8 tons. So it's break even. So if they
I'm not here to debate this.
Well, it certainly is.
No, I'm not here to debate this. Okay, Mount Carberry is not recycling the way that Casella recycled, so there will be more
We don't send
tonnage.
our recycling.
So
there. We send them to Lancaster.
this is what I have in writing. Thank you.
Is this 10 minutes up yet?
He's
So-
probably, it's up to the chairman to make that
He's
decision.
about as rude a fellow as I ever met in my life.
Yeah?
Are we ready to proceed with the